The whispering portrait in the heart of a bustling city, hidden between towering skyscrapers, sat an antique shop known as Whittingham's Curiosities. It was a place where time seemed to stand still, filled with relics from forgotten eras, dusty books, ornate trinkets, and creaking furniture that had long since seen better days. One evening, Emily Foster, an art restorer with a penchant for oddities, wandered into the shop. She had been drawn there by a rumor she heard, of a strange painting said to whisper secrets to those who listened closely enough. Intrigued, she asked the shop's elderly owner, Mr. Whittingham, about it. "Ah, yes," he said, his eyes twinkling. "The whispering portrait. It's not for sale, mind you. But you can have a look if you like." He led her to a back room, dimly lit by a single flickering lamp. There, hanging on the wall, was the painting. It was a portrait of a young woman in a crimson gown, her eyes hauntingly lifelike. Her lips were slightly parted, as if she were about to speak. Emily couldn't look away. Something about the woman's gaze seemed almost alive. "Who is she?" Emily asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "No one knows," Mr. Whittingham replied. "The painting's origins are a mystery. Some say it's cursed. Others say the woman was a tragic figure, lost to time. All I know is, strange things happen to those who spend too much time with it." Emily felt a chill run down her spine, but curiosity got the better of her. "What kind of strange things?" "The whispers," he said, lowering his voice. "People say they hear the woman speak. At first, it's just soft murmurs, barely audible. But over time, the voice grows clearer. Some say she reveals hidden truths, secrets from the past, or the future." Against her better judgment, Emily leaned in closer to the portrait, her ears straining for any sound. For a long moment, there was nothing but silence. Then, faintly, she heard it, a soft whisper, like the rustling of leaves in the wind. "Emily," she gasped and pulled back, her heart racing. "Did you hear that?" she asked, turning to Mr. Whittingham. He smiled knowingly. "It's different for everyone." Over the next few days, Emily found herself obsessing over the painting. She couldn't get the woman's face out of her mind. The whispers echoed in her thoughts, growing louder each time she visited the shop. She tried to ignore them, but the pull was too strong. One night, after the shop had closed, Emily snuck back in. The streets were quiet, the city asleep, but the pull of the portrait was undeniable. She stood in front of it, her breath shallow, as the whispers filled the room. "Emily, come closer." Without thinking, she stepped forward. The woman's eyes seemed to follow her, locking onto her gaze. The whispers grew louder, more insistent. "Help me." Emily's hand trembled as she reached out, her fingers hovering just above the surface of the painting. Suddenly, the woman's lips moved. "Find me." A gust of cold air rushed through the room, and the lights flickered. The portrait's colors seemed to shift, the crimson of the woman's gown deepening to a blood-red hue. Emily stumbled back, her mind reeling. The next morning, she returned to the shop, determined to uncover the truth behind the painting. Mr. Whittingham was waiting for her. "You heard her, didn't you?" he asked. Emily nodded, her heart pounding. "What does she mean, find me, Mr. Whittingham sighed. "You're not the first to ask. But no one has ever found her, or what she seeks. The painting is a riddle, a puzzle left unsolved for centuries. Some say the woman was trapped inside the portrait, cursed by an old enemy. Others believe she's waiting for someone who can release her." "Release her?" Emily asked, her voice barely audible. "How?" "That," Mr. Whittingham said, "is the true mystery." Determined to find answers, Emily began researching the painting's history. She scoured archives, searched through forgotten records, and consulted experts in art and the occult. Slowly, a story began to emerge, a story of a noblewoman named Isabel Ravenscroft, who had disappeared without a trace in the 18th century. Rumors swirled that she had been betrayed by a jealous lover, a man who dabbled in dark magic. The more Emily uncovered, the more convinced she became that Isabel was the woman in the painting. But the whispers continued, urging her to go further. One evening, after weeks of searching, Emily found an old journal belonging to a servant of the Ravenscroft family. In it, she read about a hidden chamber beneath Isabel's ancestral estate, a chamber where dark rituals had taken place. It was said that the key to the chamber was buried with Isabel herself, in a crypt long forgotten by time. Armed with this new knowledge, Emily traveled to the estate, now in ruins, overgrown with ivy and lost to history. There, deep in the crumbling crypt, she found the chamber. And within it, a box, sealed with a lock that bore the same symbol as the one on the portrait's frame. As she opened the box, a gust of cold wind blew through the crypt. Inside, she found a small mirror, its surface tarnished and cracked. But when she looked into it, she didn't see her own reflection. She saw Isabel. "Thank you," the woman whispered, her voice echoing in Emily's mind. "I'm free." The painting was gone when Emily returned to the shop. Mr. Whittingham simply smiled, as if he had been expecting it. "The portrait was never about the painting," he said. "It was always about the story." Emily never heard the whispers again. But every now and then, when she passed by an old mirror or a forgotten painting, she swore she could feel someone watching her. Isabel, perhaps. Or something else.